Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Clever Angle Podcast. I am your host, Tevin McGee, and today we're going to be doing a little something different. So, as you can see, we have video today. That was one of my goals of 2024 is that I want to get some kind of video content up. So, I did an interview yesterday with Caden Brown. That episode should be dropping on Thursday, and Nathan Knight, who is the owner of Knight Productions, kind of gave me the idea to do a get to know the host episode. So here I am letting you guys get to know a little bit more about me and dropping that so you guys can kind of get aligned with the mission here at the Clever Angle. And I appreciate anybody that's listening to even just 1 second of my podcast or this video. But if you would do me a favor and follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, or wherever you're viewing this, I would really appreciate it. So, a little bit about me. I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas. I have been podcasting since 2020, and there was a dip in my podcasting after about a year or so, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Um, I'm married. I've been married for 6 years. I have two daughters, which I absolutely adore, 6 and 4. Um, Ellery and Mara. They take up a lot of our time, and we're just blessed to be able to have two healthy little girls. So I'm in sales at a company here in Jonesboro, and I'm really enjoying that. And I love podcasting. I've always been passionate about podcasting. And if you're new here to the Clever Angle, I just want to kind of give a little bit of a synopsis of what my podcast is about and what you can expect from the page. So, the Clever Angle is just a podcast that is helping people find work that they love through listening through to interviews of other people that are doing those jobs. So, if you are or if you were like me and didn't really know what you wanted to do straight out of college or straight out of high school, and you just kind of pick something, you've got some interest but you don't really know how I can make a living out of that, this podcast is for you. I try to interview a diverse group of people so we can really just dig into, does this need a degree, does it not need a degree, what is the essence of the job, how much money does this job make. Those are all things that you'll find podcasting tips here as well. I'm really passionate and about the tech side of things. So if you want to know what I'm using for this setup right now, I will put it in the description of this video on YouTube or on the Instagram. I'll put the link to the gear that I'm using. So that's a little bit about what the podcast is about. We're just listening to other people's journeys so you can find yours. So I appreciate you guys listening on that part. But a little origin story about the podcast. So, as I said, careers can be tricky. So, I think back to when I was growing up, and I grew up in this time where it was just understood that you go to college. You go to junior high, you go to high school, and then you go to college, and no one really tells you kind of what happens after that. So I'm just kind of going through the motions in these events of my life, and I get to graduation day. I get to graduation day, and I'm just have this euphoric feeling that okay, now my life is starting. I'm about to get this job. I'm about to go out into the world and have this family and do all these things. And when it kind of wasn't like that instantly, I was kind of lost. I was lost a little bit. I didn't know really what I was going to do, and I was applying for jobs and I wasn't hearing anything back. Everybody needed experience. For a point of reference, I got a 4 year health promotion degree from Arkansas State University here in Jonesboro, and I absolutely enjoyed college. But it was kind of a awakening, a kind of a uh-oh feeling that I've done all of this to this point and now I don't have a job. So I did what I was, first thing that I thought of was let me go ahead and reach out to the program director at ASU of my field. Like, hey, he can probably help. He's been very, really helpful to me throughout this career. My internship didn't pan out with a job like I wanted. Maybe this guy can give me some advice. So I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I got this promotion, this health promotion degree. I don't know really what I want to do. What can I do? What jobs can I get? And he gave me one of the most unproductive to me at the time answers. He was like, you need to go back to school or you need to move out of state. And at that time, I really wasn't willing to do either one of those. So now I'm kind of stuck with this 4 year degree that I don't really know what I'm going to do with. So I'm working at a local restaurant at the time, and I'm continuing to do that. And there's so many things that I learned working at that restaurant, but it wasn't just something that I could just see myself doing for the rest of my life. But at this point, I really didn't have a option. So I'm getting ready to go into management. I'm like, I'm gonna go all in on this restaurant. You know, I've kind of been doing hourly managing at the time. I want to go in, and yeah, I want to be respected in the career space. I think as just for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but you know, you want to be respected in the work that you do. So to me, while bartending and serving was a great for college, to me that's not like a career. Um, and obviously, I think differently about that now. I think that whatever you do that fulfills you and that you enjoy doing, you should absolutely do. But for me personally, that's how I felt about the situation. And so I kind of steered myself towards the management role in this company. And I was turned down a few times. So it kind of got me thinking of something else that I could do. It's like, wow, so they decided to go another route, whether they thought I was ready or wasn't ready. It worked out how it was supposed to work out, and that really got me thinking. I'm like, man, so that didn't work out, and at this point, I've been working at the restaurant for 6 years, and that's kind of where the idea for the podcast kind of started. I would probably say this is probably around 2014 when this is all going on, and I had always wanted to do a podcast. I just thought the idea of being able to have your own show about whatever you wanted to talk about, and being on the microphone and having guests and being able to be on a platform where other people can listen to something that you created in a long form was just so appealing to me. So it was probably 2 or 3 years of just thinking about having a podcast before I actually had one. So just continuing on the journey throughout my career, I leave the restaurant in 2017 and I end up working for the company that I'm working for now. Um, Started off in the warehouse, and learned a lot from doing physical labor for sure. It was not something that I was kind of used to. Up until this point, I'd worked at two different types of jobs. I had worked at grocery store and I had worked at a um, restaurant. So those are the only kind of things that I had as a point of reference. And then I go on to do this physical work, and there's a lot of lessons in that. So um, I worked in the warehouse department for 5 years, 5, 6 years, and was able to move up and to get into a management position for 2 years, and absolutely loved it. And now I'm in the sales department at the same company, and I'm having an absolute blast with it. And that was something that I never really saw myself doing coming out of college was sales. So I have this health promotion degree, but now so all of a sudden I'm in sales. So I've got so many ideas of what I think should happen post high school, and that's probably one of I mean, I know it's one of the reasons that why I'm starting this podcast is I want to get more information out there to people that are not sure what they want to do, but know that they have gifts in certain areas. So my absolute dream job, I would say, would to be a full-time podcaster, and if it happens, that'd be great. If it doesn't, I'm still going to continue to do the work because it's something that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about getting this information out to people, and even if just one person listens to it, it's beneficial for me. So, in a nutshell, that is my career path. I'll talk a little bit about my family. So, I have been with my wife for since 2015. We actually started dating on my birthday. Um, there's a whole story associated with how we started dating to now. And if you guys want to hear about that, just put a thumbs up in the comments, and I'll tell that story on a different video. But absolute love of my life. she was one of the. As soon as I saw her, I knew that she was the one, or I was going to try to pursue her. So we've been happily married since 2017, and we have two beautiful daughters as a result of that. And we have three dogs, Blueberry, Peach, and Demi. We absolutely love. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see some updates from Peach. She's a 1 year old Labradoodle. We got Blueberry. He's a 2 year old Labradoodle. And then we have had Demi for the entirety of our relationship. So she's about 8 years old. And absolutely adore my family. Yeah, I'm grateful that they're allowing me to be able to get out here in this creative space and be able to create something for you guys. So it's just a little bit about me from a family perspective. As you can see, I am a Detroit fan, a Detroit Lions fan. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. I was rooting for Michigan in college football. I like the Hogs too, but I follow most Michigan sports. And you like Tevin you're from Arkansas. How are you following these Michigan sports and why? But the short story is I'm an Enneagram 6 and I'm a loyalist, and I started following the Pistons very at a very young age. I think about 1998 or so. So when Grant Hill was playing for the Pistons, he was my favorite player. It was fun to watch him play when I was growing up. So I just kind of stuck with the Pistons. I didn't think that there was any reason to kind of jump ship to go anywhere else, because here in Arkansas we don't have any professional teams. So Detroit is where I just kind of decided to stay. And 5 or 6 years after I started following the Pistons in 2004, we actually won the championship. So as somebody that played basketball and ran track in high school, it was kind of fun to be able to see your team win against prime time Kobe and Shaq. That was a good time to be a Pistons fan. So when I started following football a little bit later, because that was never really a thing that I grew up watching a lot of, I decided to root for the Lions. And I think it was 2008 I started following the Lions, and we drafted Matthew Stafford, huge Matthew Stafford fan. So I'm looking forward to that reunion of him coming back to Detroit. Obviously, it's all business when he gets here. Like I respect him and what he did for the city of Detroit, but we're here to win a playoff game for the first time in forever. So 2008, I started following the Lions and Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford and Golden Tate and all of these other players that I fell in love with. And now my wife is a huge Lions fan. We try to make it to at least one Lions game every single year. We've only been to two, but this is the first year that we're kind of really picking up steam as far as her being just the biggest fan as I am. So we went to New Orleans this past year, and it was an absolute awesome time. So I recommend, if you're a fan of an NFL team, to go see them play live. It is an experience that you will not forget, and it's something that you can do every year with your spouse. So just a plug there for the line. So, but yeah, so that's about it. That is a little bit about me. 2024, we're gonna the word of the year is consistency. So we are just going to continue to try to stay consistent with this podcast. There was a time from 2020 to now which I kind of fell off with the podcast for a little over a year and a half. And when I was telling you that I was a part of the management team when I was in the warehouse, it just kind of wore on me physically to the point where I just didn't have the energy to do it, honestly. And I was going full send on work, and it became to the point to where it was too much for me mentally and physically. I was tired. I wasn't able to stay awake at night when I would get home. I was working extended amount of hours, and a lot of that was put on myself. I was trying to put my arms around the operation that was a little bit too big for me by myself, so I ended up doing a lot more of the stuff that I needed to be delegating. I was doing myself. So there's a lot of reasons for that, but I was blessed with the opportunity to be able to move on to a position that I'd always wanted to pursue in sales. And It's absolutely great. So now we're back with the podcast and we're back recording every single week. We're back with the consistency. I'm reading a lot more, I'm getting more sleep. And 2024 is definitely going to be the year of growth for me. So uh, I appreciate you guys so much for anybody that was listening back then and still listening now. 2023 recap, I'll give a little bit of what I've been up to in this past year. So, being 33, you don't really get a lot of opportunities to be competitive, but I would say that that was probably one of my standout attributes. Is like I'll compete in anything. If you play board games with me, if you play pick up basketball, if we're racing to the mailbox, I'm going to try to beat you. So actually, in the summer of 2022, I found that tennis was something that I wanted to pursue. So 2022, summer of 2022, me and my wife and my brother's fiance, we all got into tennis. And we were lucky to be able to get connected with a lot of good people in the community. It's pretty big community of tennis players here. We started out never swung rackets in our life, able to join a few adult teams between 2022 and now, and it's been an absolute blast. I recommend tennis to anybody, and if you follow along on my journey on my main personal page, you'll see a lot of tennis content. Like I said, my wife plays a lot. We want to get the girls, my daughters, into it as well. And we were fortunate enough to be able to compete and win our local league and to go to state, get the opportunity to go to state and win at state. And that was just that was awesome that, it's a lifelong sport and we had the opportunity to be able to still be competitive and compete in something that we really enjoy doing. So tennis is for sure something that I would recommend to anyone. Getting to spend a lot of time with my brother doing it and my wife, and being able to share that passion with them is uh, just special, just special. Always been a competitor, always been somebody that wasn't afraid of hard work. So if you were interested in playing tennis, hey, let me know. I can get connected with you and let you know what I did and recommend you some things that I've kind of learned on my journey. But yeah, tennis is something that is helping me stay in shape, and I'm thankful for tennis in 2023. Other than that, like I said, we went to the Lions game. I actually went to New Orleans twice in 2023 and had a blast. We went on a couples trip, and that's something that I'm trying to get more of in my life in 2024. It's intentional time with the people that I want to spend intentional time with. So I was fortunate to be able to go on a trip with four couples, including me and my wife. So 8 people total, and it was an absolute blast. 3 of my groomsmen came with me, and we were able to just bond. And being someone that doesn't get to see his friends all the time, it was just nice to be able to relax and to be able to do that. So my brother's getting married probably 2025, and I think we're going to take another trip. And you really just start to appreciate those things that you kind of took for granted growing up. When you're in junior high and high school, you get to see your friends and you get to see your family all the time. And when that time is kind of taken away, you realize how special of a time you were in. My buddy Ash always says this, that I wish that we knew that we were in the good old days while it was happening and not afterwards. And that's absolutely true. I'm in close proximity with a lot of my good friends that live in the neighborhood. 2 of my groomsmen live in the same neighborhood as us. And just with all of our conflicting schedules and all of us having kids, we don't get to see each other that often. So you have to make that intentional time. So 2024, I'm definitely trying to make intentional time to be able to spend with my friends and with my family. So yeah, well, 2024, hopefully we can make another couples trip happen at some point. But yeah, 2023. Other than that, we have been hanging out with my parents. That was one of the big driving factors that the college decision of not wanting to move off from my degree was my family. My family's here. My wife's family's 2 hours away. And quickly after we got married, we decided to have kids, and your perspective started to change, man. Anyone that's in their 30s know that it's a weird time in your life. You have to experience your parents getting older, yourself, you're getting older. Time with your kids just flies by so fast because you're out of the diaper stage before you know it, because you're so tired and you're trying to give this little person that can't really fend for themselves a good life. And then when you look up and realize that, okay, my parents are in their 60s. I'm in my 30s. My kids are going into kindergarten and first grade, and I can remember myself being in kindergarten and first grade. How crazy is that? And now it's full circle. And I think that as you're going through your late 20s and your 30s, you still feel like you can do all of the same things that you can do when you're 15, 16, 17. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's one of my main reasons of wanting to stay around here, is to be able to spend that intentional time around my parents and have my kids grow up around family on both sides is just super important to me. And I really love my community. I really love Jonesboro, Arkansas. And I want to build the community out to be a destination spot. And some people might think that that's crazy. Like, why would somebody want to come to Jonesboro, Arkansas? But there's a lot of there's a lot of construction and things that are going on, and regardless if that's I'm able to make an impact on that, I'm passionate about my community, and I like big cities. I like traveling to Nashville, and I've got a lot of things on my bucket list, but I want to grow this community here, and I want my podcast to be here. And I'm all good for going to places, but I want to come back home because family and friends and my kids are the most important things to me. And 2024, I just want more of the things that I love. I want more reading. I want more time with my wife. I want more time with my kids, more time in the church community. All things that are right here in Jonesboro that I really appreciate. So I want to thank everyone. If you listen to a second, a minute, or all 23 minutes of this podcast, I appreciate you, and I am grateful for the opportunity to even say one thing that you might have resonated with. So if you do me a favor, like I said at the beginning, like, subscribe to the Clever Angle on all social medias, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you're listening to this, and be on the lookout for new episodes every week. Every week, that's our goal in 2024. It's the year of consistency, the year of growth, and the year of being our best selves. So I'm your host, Tevin McGee, and until next time, peace.